Hi, just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the Boston bombing real quick because it's obviously a very serious situation, and there's a couple things that really bothered me that I wanted to talk about real quick. I'll go into a more comprehensive video maybe, or just probably another article about all this, but um, I just wanted to say a few things real quick, a few core things that really bothered me. One that really, the biggest thing that really bothered me was the reaction from the police and the total militarization of like half of Boston for about a week. And then like totally locking down that city for 36 hours and still not being able to find the guy. And not even an hour after they lift the lockdown, a private citizen finds him and in his backyard. But there are a lot of people, there are a lot of conspiracy theories going around, obviously, about the bombing that I wanted to talk about real quick. The core issue there. Um, a lot of people feel like this was a pre-planned attack in order to invoke this police state, and I myself was taking bets pretty much on like God, how much did the FBI know about this, or did they have any connection with these kids beforehand? Because it's really not an uncommon thing for the FBI to be heavily involved in a lot of these attacks. The World Trade Center bombing in '93, the Oklahoma City bombing in '95, the materials for both those bombs were a lot of them. Some of the materials for the key components of those materials were supplied by FBI informants, FBI handlers. So, and they don't mention these things in the investigation because, for one, it's going to compromise their program, and two, it doesn't make them look very good at all, and they feel like they can just kind of brush this under the rug because these guys broke the law anyway, regardless of how much the FBI provoked them to do it. But you got a situation like the 5 anarchists in Ohio last year, where you had basically five kids that were really not going to do any kind of direct harm to anybody, and you have an informant that's you know looking for easy cash and talks these kids into building a real bomb. And the way that works, unfortunately, is we catch criminals that have broken laws, and we use their position in the criminal underworld to gather information about other goings on in the criminal underworld. Um, and we pay these people for their information, sometimes for turning people in. And so if they're short on cash, it's really not hard for a sleazy criminal to go find some hothead kid, talk him up, tell him he can get him some materials, and before you know it, this kid's a full-fledged terrorist now. And that's basically entrapment. But so those are issues that we have to look at and really address. Um, but the another issue is the presence of Kraft International there. A lot of people are calling these people private security and stuff like that, but Kraft doesn't offer private security for events like that. Kraft offers training for militarized training like that. Obviously, in this war on terrorism, the Department of Homeland Security has a great interest in training our local law enforcement, FBI, and coordinating between all these different agencies and departments that are going to try to be combating this quote unquote terrorism. Um, and so it really it makes sense to have people there when there was a training exercise going on there. So these people are obviously coordinators for the training exercise that was going on, or helping coordinate something that was going on there. But what really bothered me above everything else was that these kids actually did have contact with the FBI beforehand. About 5 years ago, apparently, the older brother was applying for like a visa or a passport to some other country, and they had inquired with the FBI about whether or not he had any connections with any known jihadist groups, and the FBI came back with no, he was not a known threat to them. And this is after they'd done a thorough investigation, but they come back and apparently had continued to stay in touch with the family to the point that the mother called it harassment. Apparently, the mother's saying that they were set up, and what bothers me, or what I'm more afraid of now, is that they were just looking for an easy, quick answer, and they saw these kids at in surveillance footage or whatever circumstances, and decided to just pin it on them real quick. And we may have killed a man and chased a man down for no reason at all, and these guys may still be at large. We really don't know at this time. All we have is just the shoddy word of whatever investigators are allowed to go into the hospital room and talk to the kid. I mean, it's really, there's a lot to the situation. There's apparently been photos of the older brother being taken into custody. I really don't, I can't vouch for the validity of any of that kind of stuff. I'm just talking about the stuff that I know about right now. But I know that there's a lot going on there, so I'll make maybe make another video later, another article probably about some of this information that's coming out in the next week or so. Something that really I was curious about was the fact that these guys apparently came from Chechnya. And you may not know anything about the Russian war on terrorism, but there's a big conflict between them and Chechnya. Similar kind of stuff that we accuse the United States government of, where Russia has been found planting bombs in their own civilians' residential areas, trying to blame it on Chechnya. When they get caught, they come back with, "Oh well, it was just a part of a training exercise." Kind of the inverse of what's going on here. I truly think that our government is really honest and just stupid. I know that there are people that are out trying to take advantage of some of both parts, and like the bankers are scamming everybody. They really just want the money. That's all. It's not anything to do with like power or killing folks. They just want the money, and it's easy for them to get money if there's more of us to do the work. But there's a lot to that issue that I could go into. But I'm concerned about things like the fusion camps. I'm concerned about, the NDAA is not really something that, like, this year's really did concern me, because Congress can at any point just kind of say anybody's a terrorist and do off with them like that. But there's a lot that I'm concerned about but there's also a lot that I'm not so concerned about. So we can talk about a lot of these things, and I go into a lot more depth of them on the website. So you can use the search bar. I try to make it easy to look around. May not be too easy to navigate, but if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please post them here. Let me know. Send me an email, whatever. Y'all have a good night. Be safe.